Do you hate ads? I hate ads. You know what I love? Patreon.com/inkdependence, where patrons get access to a patron-only Discord, ad-free videos, and the joy of knowing they help support this channel. Hello folks, welcome to Inkdependence. I'm Mike. My fingers are inky because I was cleaning pens earlier. Don't mind that. I have a pen to show you today, and it's this one. It's a little bit of a mixed bag, and we'll get to some of the issues that I've been having with this pen. If I have any updates with this, I will add them onto the video before I post it. I'm going to wait a little while to hear back from the company about a couple of things. But let's talk about this pen because I don't know if these issues are all that common, so we'll see. This is from Namisu, and I got this from Kickstarter. It was a Kickstarter project a little while ago. I've probably had it in house for about a month. More on that story in a bit. But this is the Pulsar pen in titanium. They also made a Pulsar pencil, which was very cool looking a while back, but I didn't really do mechanical pencils that much. I have a few, but I don't drop big money on mechanical pencils usually, so I kind of skipped it. But this is actually, I think, my first Namisu product that I've bought. I did a review for a Namisu fountain pen years and years ago, and that was pretty okay. So I was like, yeah, let's give it a shot. Inside this actually very nice outer box. I really like this design. That looks good. You have this other inner box, which is frankly not as good. It's got this like kind of matte finish to it, and it's like, I mean, you know, it's a little scuffed up. It picks up marks. Like this box just doesn't look as hot as this one does. I would say just use this one. This one pulls out. More box here. You have this little plate on the top, just a piece of cardboard. It says, thanks for backing our Kickstarter, Adrian and Maria, who I assume are Namisu, don't really know. And then inside here, you have the pen in a little foam and like kind of velvet-ish interior, so it should be pretty well protected. All right, so here's the pen. This is the Namisu Pulsar ballpoint, well, rollerball actually, and it is a bolt action pen, as you can see there. And of course, I went for the orange and titanium. That's a solid choice for me. I've got one here. This is from Nokko, another orange and titanium look. I like an orange and titanium. You know, it's my jam. So I was this seemed like an obvious choice for me. As far as design stuff, I think it looks really clean. They call it minimalist. I'm not really sure if it's a minimalist. It's got a lot of features for a minimalist pen, but I mean, you know, we'll see how it goes here. Here we have Namisu engraved on the barrel, as well as a TI there. They say this is grade 5 titanium, which for the price is pretty impressive. You have, obviously, where it unscrews is right here to access the refill and such. You have this nice knurling pattern down here at the grip section, and I think the knurling here is pretty nice. It's a very nice smooth knurling, but it does give you some grip. It's not super smooth, not super rough. It's not going to hurt your fingers. I think that's nice. I like this knurling. It's good. The nose cone here is fairly clean. A little bit, maybe a little bit rough across, if you rub your finger across it, but I don't know how the rest of these feel. I don't know. It's pretty average. It seems fine. You can see the tip of the rollerball is pretty far down in there. It's probably down here-ish. It's retracted pretty far, and I like that because rollerballs, if they get in contact with like your pocket fabric or whatever, like a seam or threads or lint or something, can just like leach all the ink out of the rollerball into your pocket, which is not great. I've had that happen with like Retro 51s before because there's not actually that much clearance there. Like there's just a little bit. It's probably like here-ish. And so I've had that happen. And so I often will replace these with ballpoint refills because I like those better, frankly. But this seems like this is retracted pretty far back. I'm not going to worry about that with this one, I don't think. The top of this is nice and rounded off. It's looking pretty good there. To access the refill in here, you just unscrew it at the joint. You have a Schmidt capless P8126 refill, which is just bog standard, very reliable, and dark black refill. They're pretty good. I think this is fine. If you like these rollerball refills, that's going to work for you. It'll also work with Parker style refills, I would bet, because they almost always do. There's no reason it wouldn't. I have a little spring here. It's a pretty light spring, but that's okay. You're using a bolt actions. You don't want it too stiff. It's pretty good. You can hear a little bit of rubbing in there of something, but you don't notice that unless you've got the pen taken apart. Now, a couple of issues with this pen that I've had are, well, one, it came with this big old scratch in the barrel. Titanium will get scratched, especially with like this kind of satiny finish. I think I've had watches and that sort of thing that were TI, and they tend to scratch up over time. You like snail trails, and let's see if we can find some. There's probably some around here somewhere. Snail trails is when you get like a little bit of when something rubs against there's a little bit of one right in there, which is kind of like, disturbs the finish a little bit, and you end up with markings, and that's fine. That just means you're using your pen. But straight out of the box, I don't love that there's this really pretty deep scratch in it. That must have happened during manufacturing or something, because that's a pretty good metal on metal scratch. Let's see, yeah, I can catch my my inky thumbnail in it. Man, you could ink under your thumbnail. You are hosed. It'll never come out of there until you just grow new thumbs. I don't know. But then the other problem is the bolt. I couldn't get the bolt to move when I first got this pen. And I've had this, as I said, for a little while because I wanted to reach out to Namisu, see if I can get some fixes going on, get some advice. So I reached out to them through their page, on their contact page on their website, and I never heard back. It's been like a month. And I also reached out to them on Kickstarter through their through one of their FAQ pages, I think it was, or something like that, when I was talking about changing the bolt, because I have a question about that. Because I couldn't get this bolt to move. I did eventually get it to break free. I just kind of like kept like messing with it, and eventually, I don't know, like must have been a piece of grit or something in there, maybe, but it broke free. But you can hear, and that is not going around the corner of that bolt. That's just what it sounds like. It's not smooth at all. It is rough. I have a bunch of bolt action pens, and I mean, there's a few. I have a bunch more in my cabinet over there probably, but like I like a bolt action pen. I think they're a really nice, form factor for a pen, but this one is the roughest I have, I think, by a good margin. And so I'd like to, I don't know, ask him about whether I should lube it. I don't know. I've got some like blue lube and some other things around here that would probably help out with that if it's just a lubrication issue. But I also would like to take the bolt out, because then I could just clean it off, give it a good cleaning, oil it, or whatever needs to be done. But unlike a lot of other bolt action pens like Modern Fuel and some of the others, you don't like unscrew this little widget here to take the bolt carrier out. What you have to do, it turns out, because I had to post a video about how to do it, because otherwise it's not obvious. You have to, and I can't really get my camera to focus down inside here, but you have to kind of put this in this position and then reach in there with a hex screw, or a hex key. And you're going to want it turns out, a 1.5 millimeter hex key. And I don't have one of those, and they didn't send one with it. They will send it with you if you buy different bolts, because you can trade them out. They make a bunch of different colors. In fact, they make this pen in a whole bunch of different materials. There's like ultem and polycarbonate and aluminum, and this titanium one that I got because obviously I wanted to get the titanium one. So there are a bunch of options, which is cool. I like that about this, but I wish they had sent the tool, since you need a special tool to get in there, or at least include something in the box that tells you what the tool is. I had to go to the internet and ask them, because in their video they just say use our tool, but they didn't give me a tool. So that was a little bit of an irritation. They did eventually get back to me 17 days, or I don't know, a couple of weeks, I don't know, probably 2-3 weeks later after I posted that question. On their to their credit though, Kickstarter is bad about telling you if there are comments on things. They just don't tell you. You have to go and look through everything. It's a pain. So that's not really on them, but I do wish they had replied to my question on their website. So I have reached out to them again through the email that they gave me on that reply, and we'll see if I get anything back. If I do, I'll add it to the video and let you know what I found out. But yeah, I don't know. I'd like to take this off here, maybe take this out, clean it up, see if there's some burr or something I can just sand off. Because them sending me another one from the UK seems like a waste, especially now with all kinds of tariff uncertainty and general nonsense. I think it'd be better if I could just fix it. So, and I'm kind of handy if I can just get the piece. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I mean, they can't do anything about that besides replace the whole barrel, and that seems like a lot. So I don't know what they'll say, but we'll see. The other issue that I have with this pen is that it really could have used another, I don't know, a little bit of a QC or a sanding pass or something like that. Because I mean, the first thing I think my wife noticed was that these edges in here are sharp. So if you look at the way that they have done the interior here, you can see there, those are just sharp, hard corners. Those, I think, need to be rounded off or something. Like, give it a bit of a little, I don't know, a little chamfer, give it a buffing pass, give it something so that when you run your finger this way across this, it doesn't hurt. Because that is a sharp titanium corner. And it ain't going to get duller because it's titanium, y'all. So, yeah, that just kind of is what it is. That's what it's going to feel like. And I don't think that's great. I also don't really like the way that they've done the edges of the bolt here. It is also a sharp, like, I mean, that is a tight 90-degree corner right there. And it means this pen is not very fidgetable, because if you go like this, it hurts. Like, if you do that more than a few times, like, I mean, obviously my hands are not the softest hands in the world, but like it starts to rub because it's just a hard corner. If they just rounded off some bits in here, I think that would have been great. Now, one reason I might be willing to overlook that is because this pen was priced at 55 pounds after shipping. So that's like, I don't know, 65, maybe $70. So it's on the very low end for a titanium machined pen of this sort. So I think the price point is very, very good. But it also means that maybe they just didn't want to work in the time or machining to smooth out some of these rough bits and such. And I think that would have been better, because this is a pretty sleek writing instrument. But with this, like, sharpness, the grittiness here, and in fact, let's see if it'll do it today. About 30% of the time, 50% of the time, the carrier doesn't really go to the top because it gets stuck. Ah, there we go. Yeah, it got stuck. Why? I don't know. Something's gritty in there. It's not lubed or oiled, or it's not quite finished. There's something going on, but like that happens a fair amount of the time, and you have to like pop. You said I had to pop it up to the top. It was kind of stuck pretty good. So I don't know. Maybe the spring is just a little bit weak, or maybe this just needed some. Oh, did it again. It's just yeah, I don't know. It's not super consistent. So did it again. There we go. So yeah. I read in the comments a lot of people saying that like that theirs is great, and that's awesome. I'm super glad that I'm maybe one of the few that got a not great pen, because I've got a bunch. In fact, these are mostly tactile turn ones because they're various materials. So this one's copper, and it's copper on copper, and it's a much smoother bolt experience. This one is aluminum, probably with an aluminum carrier like this one. This one's all titanium. And it is, I mean, just much smoother. And one of the things that's smoother about it is if you look on the inside here of where the bolt is, see how it's like got this, instead of being just a hard 90-degree corner, it's got a slope to it. And that means that when you go like this, your finger is not catching on a hard titanium corner. It's just kind of moving across a ramp. And that is much, much nicer. Like, I mean, yo, that's way better. So these pens all have that kind of thing going on. They've got that ramp, and that's really good. These are all tactile turn, as I said, and the price point for them is a bit higher. I mean, the aluminum one is, I forget what this was, like $60 or something like that. So a little bit cheaper, maybe even than this one. But it's got that nice ramp in there as well. This one is one of the few bolt action pens I have that doesn't have any kind of like a ramp or something like that, I think. This is a very old one from a company that doesn't exist anymore. I want to say it was called Urban Survival Gear or something like that. But this pen I've had for, I mean, probably 10 years or more. I've had this for a really long time. This is their first generation pen. Their later generations got way better, but you can see the brass in here. Brass? Nope, copper. Smells like pennies. The copper in here is very thin, and they didn't, they didn't slope it or anything because there's barely any material there. The other problem is that they have this gap here, which is kind of necessary, I guess, for this to move. But if you get your finger caught between the brass and the titanium, you're going to have a bad time. So that was one of the issues here. And this is like also very rough on the inside, just kind of like this one is. So like that's not great. But this pen is a long time ago. there are bolt actions out there that have fixed that. And then you've got like the Kara's one, which fixes that rough thumb experience. This one is all ultem, of course, but it fixes that rough thumb experience by changing the shape of the bolt a little bit. So it's just the most fidgety thing around. It's got it's just, that feels great. Whereas this one hurts your fingers. So it's this is a Kara's Penco modal. They make really nice little modals over there. This is another style of bolt action. So this is not bad, I think, for the price. It feels good in the hand. I like this knurling. The weight is good. It's not super light, but it's not all that heavy. And I think most of the weight is here-ish. Although it's a little bit more back heavy than I would prefer. It's not bad. I think it'll be fine to write with when I don't know. I'll probably start writing with it now that I've done the video and have stuff like this big scratch and stuff like that on video, so I can say like, it had this. But yeah, it seems okay. I'll give it it's okay. But like if yours doesn't come marred and your bolt works, I think you'll really like this pen. But it does have a few nitpicks. The reason this is $60 instead of $100 is probably because they just didn't take the time to do these little things, which is understandable. It puts it in a different price bracket, but also do those little things. I think would be great. So if I ever hear back from them, I will let you know. Katie Purry has joined me here on the table. Hi Katie, how's it going? Yeah, there you go. That's the Namisu Pulsar. I'm on the fence about it. I think it's got potential. I think it's a nice and cool looking pen, but it's got some literal rough edges that ought to be sanded down a little bit, if you know what I'm saying. So thanks for watching. Maybe there'll be something later, but maybe there won't. I may never hear back. We'll see. It's been a while since I heard. So we'll see how it goes. But thanks for watching. Think about what you put out in the world, make it a better place. Let me know if you got one of these and how yours worked out, because I'm curious. Thanks, Katie. She's really getting attention here. So thank you. All right, that's it. I'll see y'all later. Gotta go out here before my cat turns something off. Bye.